I, George Walker Bush,
do solemnly swear
that
I will faithfully execute
the
office of President of the United States
of the United States
and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Are you saying that Gabby Giffords would in fact support an impeachment inquiry going forward?
She would have no problem with the Judiciary Committee, a special investigatory committee formed by Congress to formally review charges and come to conclusions. It's an appropriate action of Congress. If a committee decides to do that, she would have no objection to that. And she has said this publicly many times. I don't know if you've heard her or not, but she thinks that this administration should and probably will go down as the worst administration and the worst president in U.S. history, and that the arrogance, as she calls it, the cowboy go-it-alone approach and egregious overuse of executive power, has been outrageous and unacceptable, and it's partly why she ran for Congress. And has been trying to pursue some of the efforts to correct the mess that has been made by this administration.
The thing that really gets to me is that the Constitution left the Congress with one tool to take care of an errant executive branch. It has no other tools. You cannot ask the Justice Department to do something because it's part of the executive branch. The only tool written in the Constitution that provides power to the Congress, which is not able to be interfered with by the courts or the executive branch, is the power of impeachment. That's it. And if you have a lawless administration that is continuously flaunting the Constitution, it has happened over and over and over again. But the lawlessness of this administration has gotten to the point where it is so bad that the people sitting out here have nobody to go to, but the only people that have the only tool that could hold these people accountable.
Well, you know what was
to
fascinating?
start this investigation.
You know what was fascinating to me?
That's
and
the second question.
You guys brought this to my attention through your questions, and I thank you for it. Well, I thank you, and yet it's extremely depressing, but it was enlightening. I did some research on the issue of the signing statements, and it blew my mind away. And I, over 1,000 times, Bush has objected to provisions of laws in over 520 signings, and his objections are, of course, fairly pervasive.
One of the questions was, are signing statements legal, and where in the Constitution is this procedure authorized? I looked through this thing. I couldn't find anything in here at all. How
Correct.
did that ever get into the picture? Mm-hmm. And it seems like Congress, therefore, why are they there to sign or to pass legislation on the one hand, him just sign it off on the
I mean,
other?
I completely agree. It's obviously not in the Constitution, and it reminds us, I would think, of the line item veto power. which was obviously taken away from the president by the Supreme Court. And this, of course, is so much more clever because it's not a written policy like the line item veto was. The president is able to cross things out, So that's something that the Supreme Court can look at and say unconstitutional. But this is a practice that he has taken to a completely different level in terms of the number of times he's done it and the actual objections being as substantive as they are. Now,
But Laura, is there anything in here that legitimatizes that whole procedure?
Absolutely not. I'm agreeing with you that it is not in there. It is an overreaching of power, and it is a precedent that he didn't start.
What is possible for us and for Gabrielle Giffords to do towards getting impeachment of Bush and Cheney?
The fact of the matter is, given that Congress probably will adjourn, August, come back for a couple weeks in September, it is not going to happen. There will not be an impeachment vote, as you all know. We're not going to, sit here and fool each other. It's not going to happen.
I'm going to call on Jeff because I know he has to get on an airplane very shortly.
My personal opinion, if it fails to pass, then we have a failure of Congress right now.
Okay.
We elect these people to use their judgment to determine what the most pressing item is. The one thing that connects all the issues is the criminality of the Bush regime. We need leadership to get these criminals recognized as criminals, and impeachment is the first step. We need the freshman congresspersons to lead.
This guy, Bush, has admitted in a question and answer setting in Buffalo that he abrogated FISA because we are at war. Okay. You said earlier, if there was some proof that something was actually done.
Absolutely.
That's one. Right. Number two, waterboarding. We now know that waterboarding did occur. We don't know all the other things. There is no reason other than the political calculus, which just makes most of us just freaky, that the Democrats are so conniving, craven, and cowardly that they won't step up and say, we'll take a chance. We'll take a chance. We are only left with the Congress to step up. And we are pleading. And we understand she's a newbie. She's learning the ropes. I was at one of her first meetings when she got back from boot camp, and second thing out of her mouth was, Nancy Pelosi says impeachment's off the table. Well, she's not supposed to take directions from Nancy Pelosi. We're the ones that put her in office. And that calculus better not be forgotten if the Democrats want to hold on here for any length of time.
And just to clarify,
I heard you say that it's not a good idea to try to bring impeachment to a vote because it won't pass anyway. And in fact, if we even try, we'll end up having the bad result of making things even worse by giving support to the administration that we all hate. I want to know if you realize how profoundly defeatist that is, and and it goes. I think it goes beyond defeatism into fear-mongering. Don't try, because if you even try, you'll end up worse than before.
So I think we no doubt have a constitutional crisis that has come about through this administration, and I'm completely sympathetic, as is Gabrielle, with the endless list of horrific, arrogant actions by this administration. And the list is very long, and how to dig us out of it and swim through it and restore credibility in our executive branch and the Constitution is probably going to take decades. This is a disaster created by this arrogant president who has been very destructive in his use of executive power. This isn't going away anytime soon. The precedents he's created and the mess he's created through judicial appointments, hopefully an administration with some integrity, we're going to chip away at it. But